Chapter 1. Alright, so listen up. There was this emperor, right? Name's Nathaniel Klein, but everyone just calls him Nate. And the guy was like insanely powerful. The 17th Holy Emperor of Delcross, had literal divine power, was the best swordsman on the continent. The country was thriving under him, and he was on good terms with all the neighbours. Basically, a once-in-a-century kind of ruler. Except, there was one little problem. His nickname was the unprecedented, womanizing Holy Emperor. Because by the time he was 21, when he first sat on the throne, he already had 3 wives, 1 mistress, and 5 kids. After 12 years of ruling, over 7 legitimate children, and who knows how many illegitimately ones. So how do you shake off a label like that? You don't. And Nate's been struggling ever since, trying to be a decent dad. But kids, man, they're a whole other level of pain. Take his oldest son, Owen. The kid starts spewing nonsense out of nowhere. He goes, "Father, I want to level up my stats through a status window." And then he just pieces out to the southern front. What are you even supposed to do with that? Then there's his daughter, Amelia. She drops a whole bombshell, comes in crying and says she came back from the future. Apparently, some guy named Leonard tricked her into marriage, then abused her, locked her in a tower, and eventually killed her. So now she wants revenge, full on, to the bitter end. Nate looks at his sweet little daughter, who suddenly turned into a thorny rose, and thinks, what kind of parenting is this? Is it like this for everyone? Or are my kids just weird? But the real headache is his 4th child, Prince Morres. His mum is a hysterical mess who constantly nagged him, trying to turn him into the heir. And what did Morres do in response? He started fooling around with the palace staff and eventually turned into an out-of-control delinquent. Basically, the family's biggest embarrassment. Then the kid almost dies from some fever, wakes up, and he's like a completely different person. Stopped causing trouble, started training non-stop, lost weight, his swordsmanship got way better, but his personality turned sharp and cold. Nate's happy about the changes, sure, but something's just off. And then one day, this happens. Boom! The whole palace shakes. Everyone runs outside to the courtyard, and there's a freaking dragon. A real one. A massive black corpse with rotting flesh and demonic energy radiating off it. And guess who's standing right on top of it? Morres, cool as a cucumber. And he says, didn't mean to cause a commotion. Carry on with your duties, don't mind me. So, get this. He'd apparently taken down this demonic dragon somewhere in the east, and instead of dragging it across the country, risking everyone and everything getting infected by its corpse, he just brought it here. Dumped it right in the middle of the imperial palace, where the emperor lives, where all the ministers are walking around. The cardinals are in shock. The knights are crossing themselves. Even the high priest swears under his breath. Everyone's thinking the same thing. This good-for-nothing prince has turned into a complete madman. You never know what he'll do next. And the dragon, by the way, still alive? Barely. It's roaring, twitching, demonic energy flaring up everywhere. And Morres is standing right in the middle of this nightmare. He pulls out his sword, and suddenly, this creepy, dark red aura starts leaking from the blade. Definitely not the kind of aura you'd expect from a prince of a holy empire. "I'll handle this now," he says. "You guys stay back. Be careful with the energy." And then he just stabs the dragon right through its heart. Explosion. Black smoke everywhere. Total chaos. Thankfully, Emperor Nate manages to throw up a holy barrier to stop the magic from wiping out everyone nearby. After a while, the smoke clears, and all that's left of the dragon is a white skeleton. But where's the prince? Everyone thinks he's toast. A normal person with no holy power would have just disintegrated from that much demonic energy. But nope, Morres walks out of the smoke, totally fine, not a scratch, and he walks straight toward his father, still radiating that twisted blood-red aura. Honestly, at this point, you'd be confused about who's the demon and who's the prince. The archbishop, shaking like a leaf, whispers to the emperor, "Your Majesty, are you absolutely sure your son isn't involved with something unholy?" Nate just puts a hand over his face and sighs quietly. Because his reckless idiot son Morres just became the centre of a brand new storm. And this storm? Yeah, it's probably going to turn all of Delcross upside down. Chapter 2. So here's the deal with Morris Klein, third prince of the Holy Empire of Delcross. And let's just say, he's a complete joke. The kind of embarrassment to the imperial family you don't see every day. Unlike his father, who was basically the coolest emperor in history, this guy didn't inherit a single shred of holy power or any swordsmanship skills. On top of that, his temper was explosive, his language was crude, nothing like his dad's calm manners, and it was so bad that some bishops even whispered like, "Are we sure he's actually the emperor's kid?" But then, this forever idiot prince suddenly got a chance to change. He caught a nasty fever, spent 3 days and 3 nights at death's door, and when he woke up, he was a completely different person. Everyone just thought, well, people change after a near-death experience. But here's the thing, the prince had a huge secret, because the one who opened his eyes inside Morris's dying body was a guy named Lee Sungjin, from Earth. This Lee Sungjin guy had been stubborn since he was a baby, like, since diapers. His parents, even though he was their only child, went through a lot with him. His mum cried watching her 4-year-old son still glued to his pacifier. She was worried about his teeth, but luckily, his baby teeth grew in straight and nice. Then he started kindergarten, and a new problem popped up. The kid flat out refused to go home. They tried everything. We've got snacks at home. Let's watch your favourite cartoon. Nothing worked. The teachers even started to suspect something was wrong at home. In the end, mum or dad had to carry him around the playground until he fell asleep, then drag him home late at night. Then came elementary school. His parents finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thought he'd matured. Yeah, not really. One day he came home with someone else's crayons. The next day, the teacher called. Sung Jin had taken a 56-pack from a classmate because that classmate had broken his own 24-pack of crayons. His mum said, "Sung Jin, he apologised. You can't just take other people's things," he said. "So if he apologises, that's it? What about my crayons? We'll buy new ones. Why should you buy them if Hyunchul broke them? The person who caused the problem should take responsibility." His mum was speechless, but from a kid's point of view, he wasn't wrong. Eventually, she talked him into it. Friendship is more important than crayons. Forgive him first, and if you're still upset, we'll figure it out later. He reluctantly nodded, then added, "And why did I take the 56-pack? For emotional damages. I should get something better, right?" His mum never figured out if her son was a genius or just really clever. Then middle school came, and Sungjin suddenly went quiet. His parents watched him nervously, but his uniform was neat. His textbooks were fine. No one seemed to be bullying him. They thought finally he's grown up. The truth was, things were a total mess behind the scenes. He'd just learned to hide his business from teachers and parents. For example, some bullies tried to mess with him. He spent 3 months methodically hunting down one of them until the bullies were shaking in their shoes and begged for a truce. Or one time, a student council member picked a fight with him. Sungjin stalked him for a week until the guy developed social anxiety and went on medical leave. So yeah, his school life was quite the adventure, always walking the line between justice and crime. He wasn't a star student, but he was diligent enough. Got into a decent university in Seoul, did his military service, landed a job at a decent small to mid-sized company. Some co-workers said, "You know, there's something off about that Mr. Lee." But on the outside, he was a model employee. He even got job offers and started flirting with a female co-worker. In other words, he would have just lived a normal life, gotten married and been fine. Then came August 2035. The Gehenna Gate incident. Portals to the demon world suddenly opened all over the planet, and hordes of monsters poured out. Cities crumbled within days. The world fell into chaos. Sungjin happened to be on a business trip and barely survived by hiding in a shelter on the defense line. But he lost everything. His family, his peaceful life, everything. And he didn't cry. He just quietly watched the endless stream of monsters and thought, who do I collect this debt from? So he became a hunter, a professional monster killer. Turns out if you touch a monster's corpse, your body absorbs this strange energy. They called it monster aura. And the people who absorbed it gained superhuman abilities. Some got incredibly strong, some developed a tough outer shell, and some could even move things with their minds. The more you absorbed, the stronger you got. Pretty soon, there were superhumans who could kill thousands of monsters by themselves. Humanity slowly started pushing back, and a war of attrition began, one that lasted for decades. And ironically, after decades, the demon world and Earth had nearly destroyed each other. When the last squad of superhumans finally reached the Demon King, hiding deep in the heart of the demon world, he just sighed and said, "So it's come to this. What have we been doing for decades? What a disgrace." Nobody cared about his disappointment. There was only one option left: total annihilation of one side. The Demon King fought back desperately. They battled for 3 days and 3 nights. By the 3rd night, all that was left of the Demon King was his head. And out of the entire human squad, only one person was still alive. It was Sungjin, the stubborn bastard who never gave up. He barely raised his fist in front of the Demon King's head, and the Demon King said with a tired kind of surprise, "You stubborn piece of work. I thought you were the least interesting of them all, but here I am, dying at your hands." Sungjin smirked and threw a punch. Crack! A crack ran through the Demon King's horn. Another punch, and his nose caved in. But Sungjin didn't have enough strength left to smash his head completely. The Demon King, bleeding from his nose, panicked. "Hey, wait! Hold on!" Sungjin just kept punching methodically. At some point, Sungjin ran out of gas and stopped to catch his breath. And then he watched as the Demon King's crushed nose slowly started to heal. Turns out even just ahead, this demon could regenerate. The Demon King started negotiating. "Let's call a truce, recover our strength, and then fight again." But Sungjin knew, if both of them recovered, he was screwed. Because he was human, and the Demon King was the Demon King. So the Demon King tried a different angle. "Fine, let's just stop fighting altogether. I'll leave Earth and Gehenna forever. You save my life, and you save both worlds. Think about it." Sungjin stayed quiet. "If you kill me like this, Gehenna collapses, and Earth gets slowly dragged into the gates. Both worlds die." "Is that what you want?" Sungjin finally answered. "I don't care about either world. The only thing that matters is whether I kill you or not. That's the whole point." The Demon King went pale. He realized there was no negotiating with this guy. Then he tried a third pitch. "At least let me die on my own terms. My auto-regeneration is draining me. Give me some time and I'll burn my own soul with Gehenna's flame. I'll disappear on my own. You won't have to lift a finger, and I'll close the gates. Earth will be fine." Sungjin nodded. "Okay, I'll think about it after I kill you." The Demon King screamed, "How are you going to think about it after I'm dead? And you can't even kill me like this anyway. Why am I even talking to you?" Who knows how long this would have gone on. But at some point, the Demon King finally made up his mind. He started sobbing and yelled, You cursed brat, I really didn't want to do this." Crimson flames erupted. Gehenna's fire, the stuff that erases existence itself. It started consuming the Demon King's head, and then spread to Sungjin. The Demon King, laughing through his tears, shouted, "Burn together with this Demon King's noble soul as fuel. I will destroy you. I'll burn your soul to ash." His flesh was melting, his bones were showing, but even then he seemed almost happy that he was dragging Sungjin down with him. And Sungjin looked at his own burning body, the body that had absorbed monster aura for decades, that had become nearly invincible, and realized it was melting like wax, and it hurt like hell, even though he was used to pain. But he knew one thing: the one who started this invasion, the enemy of his entire life, was finally defeated. Then the Demon King, who had been laughing like a maniac, suddenly stopped, because he saw that Sungjin, engulfed in flames, was smiling. and a chill ran down the Demon King's spine. "Well," Sungjin said, "I guess this is it for me too." Then he slowly, with muscles that were nothing but charred skeletons, raised his burning fist. "So let's finish this with one last punch," the Demon King shrieked. "You bastard, even now? Think of this as compensation for emotional damages." "Crack!" the scream cut off. The Demon King's face crumbled into ash. Sungjin closed his eyes. In his fading consciousness, he thought he heard a cracking sound, like something breaking. That was the last memory of Hunter Lee Sungjin. So yeah, this was supposed to be the end. But nope, Sungjin wakes up and has no idea what the hell is going on. He was sure he'd burned even his own soul in that fire, and now he's lying in bed, and someone's spoon-feeding him porridge. And in his head, that damn Demon King, the same one who solemnly swore to burn his own soul to ashes. And now he's in there, being noisy and laughing his arse off. "Ha ha ha! This is hilarious. Are you a baby? What are you even going to do with that bib?" "It's a napkin, you idiot. Anyway, let's rewind to a day earlier." Sungjin opens his eyes and sees some mature woman in fancy clothes. She's got tears in her eyes. "Morres, my baby, do you recognize your mother?" "Oh, your highness, you've finally come around." "What?" Sungjin just blinks, completely confused. The room is gorgeous, there are servants everywhere. At first he thinks, maybe this is the afterlife? But then a familiar voice sounds in his head. "Hey, stop spacing out, wake up. Are you still sleeping or what?" "Demon King? Oh, you recognized me. You weren't opening your eyes, I thought your soul had completely fallen apart. Do you have any idea how strong that flame was?" Sungjin is furious. "What do you mean?" He finished him off. Whoa, calm down. Your soul hasn't fully settled into this body yet. If you lose it now, you might get kicked back out, got it? Sungjin tries to get up to deal with this bastard once and for all, but his body feels weirdly sluggish and heavy. He collapses back down. Breathing is hard, arms and legs are too heavy. Everyone around starts panicking. "Morres, what's wrong? Are you in pain?" And he's trying to break free, yelling that the Demon King is still alive and needs to be finished. And the Demon King in his head goes, "Hey, your blood pressure just spiked. If you keep this up, you'll die just as fast as you were reborn. Come on, breathe, in and out, in and out." Sungjin keeps struggling, and then, bam, sharp pain in his back, and his vision goes dark. When he comes to again, he's in the same place, surrounded by the same people, and that damned voice in his head is back. "Wow, I thought you just had a short temper, but it seems your anger really is out of control." "Shut up, you bastard." The Demon King quickly changed his tone. Okay, sorry. No more teasing. Let's just talk, all right?" Sungjin, strangely enough, calmed down pretty quickly. Because he learned one important thing. The Demon King's physical body is completely destroyed, and only a tiny fragment of his soul remains. Just a voice without a body. Getting angry at that is just a waste of energy. The Demon King explained that in that final battle, Gehenna's fire burned them both. Sungjin's body was completely incinerated, but his soul somehow remained intact. The Demon King, on the other hand, lost almost all his power and went from that mighty ruler to a pathetic little leftover. Sungjin asked, "So why are you in my head then? Just disappear already." The Demon King sighed. "I tried, but every time I try to move away from you, the holy energy around here starts burning me. It's so painful that even the remaining fragments of my soul might completely crumble." Sungjin, of course, would have liked to finish him off even in this state, but how do you kill something with no physical form? It's not like he can summon Gehenna's fire just by snapping his fingers. On the other hand, this annoying voice turned out to be pretty useful. The former Demon King really does know a lot. He woke up a day earlier than Sungjin and already gathered information about this new world by directly touching the souls of the people around him and reading their memories. Here's what he found out. This place is a completely different dimension, far from Earth and the demon world, a higher level. "We got incredibly lucky," said the Demon King. "We could have just scattered into the void, but somehow we ended up in a main world." And what's a main world? A higher dimension, at least a couple levels above things like Sigurd 34 or Gehenna. Sungjin didn't understand half the terms, but decided not to dwell on it. Anyway, this place is called the Holy Empire of Delcross, a powerful empire with lots of kingdoms and duchies ruled by the Holy Emperor who receives the protection of the gods, generation after generation. The current Holy Emperor is the 17th, and he's the biological father of the body Sungjin ended up in, which means Lee Sungjin is now a prince. No wonder everyone around is so polite. Your name now is Morres Klein, the third prince and fourth child of the Holy Emperor. You turn 15 this year. 15? A child and a famous troublemaker. His mother is the first queen, Elizabeth Ussen, daughter of a highly respected archduke, the most high-born woman in the palace. From childhood, she was certain that her son, with the most noble blood among all the royal children, would become the crown prince and inherit the throne. And that expectation turned into crazy parenting zeal and emotional pressure. As a kid, Morres tried to live up to his mother's expectations. It wasn't like he was more talented than the others, but at least he roughly behaved like a prince. But from age 7, things went to hell. He started losing his temper for no reason, using his impunity. He'd snap at the servants, constantly commit unprovoked violence, break things, bully his escort knights. In class, he'd insult the teachers, and after the Queen scolded him a few times, he stopped going to lessons altogether. The Demon King recounted all this as if he were talking about Sungjin's own disgrace. Sungjin asked, "How do you have such detailed information after just one day? Can I even trust this? I directly connected to the souls of the people around you. This is top quality info you couldn't have gathered in a lifetime on your own. Be grateful." After that, the prince's life hit rock bottom completely. He even gave up swordsmanship, the only thing he somewhat enjoyed. He'd lie in bed all day and eat non-stop. People couldn't understand why he'd changed so much. They could only guess that the young prince who'd obediently followed his ambitious mother might have just cracked under the stress. Over the years, the once noble prince turned into an ignorant, impatient pig, rolling around on the ground from severe obesity. And then he suddenly got sick. 3 days ago, Morres ate a good dinner, went to bed, and at dawn he suddenly developed a mysterious fever. And by noon he'd lost consciousness. No sign of poisoning, nothing like any normal illness. The royal doctors couldn't do anything. The emperor put aside his duties and came to visit. The queen spent the whole night at his bedside in tears. And after 4 days of fever, the one who woke up in this body wasn't Morres, it was Sungjin. Sungjin asked, "So where did Morres's original soul go? We've basically hijacked someone else's body." The Demon King answered casually, When I woke up, there were no other souls in this body besides us. Maybe he died from the fever? So they just took over the body of someone who just died from illness. What if we try to leave? Why leave? Without a soul, the body will just die. Want to try? Is there any way to get out? The Demon King said brutally. Sure, just die and that's it. Sungjin looked grim. On one hand, coming back to life wasn't the worst feeling. He'd already been ready for annihilation in that battle with the Demon King, and the feeling that he'd destroyed the demon world, even with leftover junk, was enough for him. But now he was awake. His past life, full of suffering and hardship, didn't look so appealing anymore, constantly grinding himself down to destroy a terrible world. Not exactly a fun time. And now, could he start a new life in someone else's body? Could this be considered compensation for everything he'd been through? While Sungjin was lost in thought, the Demon King, who didn't understand his complicated feelings at all, poked fun at him from the side. Anyway, who cares if you're a pig? You became the son of the most powerful guy in the country. Congratulations, you hit the jackpot. And that was also a problem. Sungjin swallowed hard and looked at his massive body, sprawled across the bed. His belly was so big that even lying down, it blocked his view. His arms and legs were swollen with fat. His joints wouldn't bend properly. He was out of breath and tired just from closing his eyes for a second. And that wasn't just from the fever. He'd have to exist in this worthless body. Sungjin sighed, remembering his old body with its powerful muscles. That's what happened in one day. And now he's lying on a fancy bed. Queen Elizabeth is spoon-feeding him porridge like a baby bird, with a napkin neatly tied around his neck. Come on now, Morres. Say ah one more time. He was shamefully close to losing it, but seeing this caring queen, Sungjin reluctantly opened his mouth again. And just then, a half-choked laughing voice rang out in his head. Ha 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 ha! I'm losing it! You want me to die of laughter? Ha 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 ha! Sungjin thought, one day I will get rid of you. He swallowed the porridge roughly and stopped the queen as she was about to scoop up another spoonful. Mom? My stomach's full, you must be tired. You can stop feeding me. The queen looked at him for a moment with some kind of sad expression, then lowered her head and wiped her tears with her fancy lace sleeve. You know, I suddenly noticed your memory's a bit off. You've never called me Mom before. God, this is so awkward. To avoid raising suspicion, he said his memory was a little foggy after the illness, but every conversation with the queen was pure stress, afraid he'd slip up. The Demon King gave him a tip. Looks like you usually called her Queen Mother. Sungjin knew that, but so what? Out loud, all he managed was, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? That fever of yours was just terrible. Even the Emperor himself came to treat you, but the fever wouldn't go down. As a mother, I was afraid something terrible had happened. The Queen delicately adjusted her sleeve and gently took Morris's hand. The fact that you woke up alive and well is more than enough to make me happy. When her warm hand touched his, Sungjin had to make an effort not to flinch. He felt terribly guilty for pretending to be her son. Her real son was already dead, his soul gone, and she didn't even know. She couldn't even mourn him, but he couldn't just tell her the truth, that there was a different soul inside Morris's body. First of all, she wouldn't believe him, and second, if she did believe him, then what? Throw him out? And if his soul actually got kicked out of the body? Sungjin didn't particularly cling to his life, but he wasn't looking to commit suicide in such a spectacular way either. All eyes wide, but it seems there's a good side to you getting sick. My child sitting calmly with me like this. When was the last time that happened? Ha ha ha. Sungjin just smiled awkwardly. This crazy prince, how badly did you have to live that your mother rejoices over such small things?